I'm Jenny Teddo, and I'm going to tell you the story, Everybody Loves Bacon. This trunk may not look like much, but it's a memory. It belonged to my granddad, and he took it everywhere when he was a young man in the 30s, including off to college where he met my grandmother. And there's some fun stories about their courtship, but I'm not telling you those right now. Let's see what memories are inside of this memory. Oh, a squirrel. I have lots of good squirrel stories, but that's not for right now. Oh, here's my baby rattle. I have a really good dramatic story about when I was a baby, but I'm not telling you that one right now either. Here's something very special. It's part of my husband's grandpa's uniform from World War II, when he fought with the German army on the Russian front. There's some intriguing stories there, but they're not for right now either. Here's what I was looking for. This bear belonged to my granddad, the same granddad who owned this trunk. I'm going to tell you today about my granddad and his run-in with the bear. It was 1958. My granddad was a young father to my Uncle John. They and their friend James had decided to go camping in Yellowstone, which was practically in their backyard. Yellowstone then was much the same as it is now. Wonderful, clear lakes where you can watch the fish swim around seemingly in the sky with the pebbles of the lake bed below them. Giant stone mountains covered in sparkling snow all year round. But there was one big difference, and that was the bears. There were more of them back then. Granddad, John, and James could lie awake at night listening to the bears rustling in the woods around their campsite. The bears were shy, though. This could have something to do with John and James screaming at them every time they got close to the campsite. And this was frustrating for my granddad, because Granddad liked to shoot things. Oh, no, he didn't shoot them that way. This is a national park. He liked to take pictures, and the bears weren't cooperating. So he thought about it, and he came up with a brilliant plan. He would bait the bears to come into the campsite. Now, they were experienced campers. They knew what they were doing. They had their supplies in a bag, suspended up away from the branches of a tree. Granddad took some of their bacon and let it hang just outside of the sack so that the smell would attract the bears. Sure enough, it wasn't long before a big black bear came into their campsite. And that bacon smell just wafted through the air. And the bear looked up, and there it was in the tree. He climbed the tree, and he reached for that bag and bopped it, and it swung back and forth, and he bopped it again, and it swung back and forth, and he reached out his arm and his mighty claws and snagged that bacon, put it in his mouth, climbed down the tree, and ran away. Granddad, John, and James watched that bear take off with the bacon, and suddenly they realized that was the last of their bacon, and they wanted it back. So they took off after that bear, running and screaming, "Give us back our bacon! Hey, that's ours! Give it back!" But the bear just looked over its shoulder at these people and kept running. Again, they ran harder, yelling and screaming, "Hey, give it back! That's ours!" And the bear once again turned and ran even faster. Now at this point, the boys started to realize that they weren't going about it the right way. And they thought about it. They decided what they needed to do was sneak up on the bear. The bear wouldn't hear him coming. And the bear also did not know that they were armed. Granddad had brought his axe that he had used for chopping firewood. John had brought a 9-foot hardwood staff that he'd used when he was hiking. And James, he'd brought a rock. Good for him. Grandad took the axe axe when they got close enough to that bear and threw it. The axe glanced off the side of the bear, and the bear decided that was enough. He stood up on his hind legs, reached into the air, showed off his mighty claws, opened his giant mouth with the sharp teeth, and growled. Grandad John and James just stood frozen, staring up at this bear, which towered over John's 9-foot staff. The bear, when he considered that they were sufficiently intimidated, dropped back down onto all fours, snuffed, picked up the bacon, and walked away. Grandad John and James stood stock still for a little while longer, realizing that they were in the woods. They were in the bear's house. They took off lickety-split back to their campground, having learned something very important. Everybody loves bacon. Grandad, though, never got his photo. The end.